We are joined right now by Roger Stone, Republican political consultant, correspondent with the Daily Caller, editor of StoneZone.com, and of course, former advisor to one Donald Trump. Hello, Roger.
Steve, great to be with you.
Well, great to talk to you again, sir. So, how did your former man do tonight?
I thought he did just fine. I didn't see anything in this debate that will really change the way this race is developing. I knew it was going to be overwhelming in terms of the number of attacks on him, but what was interesting is that nobody sought to engage him really on his temporary ban on Muslim immigration as they were last week. Every one of these candidates was denouncing him, distorting his position, trying to make it sound like he favored an all-time complete ban on Muslim immigration forever. No one engaged him on that tonight, particularly because I think they realized that his candidacy went forward. He actually went up in the polls after making this controversial proposal. So I thought he had a good night. It's very clear that CNN wanted Jeb and Trump to mix it up. They wanted Rubio and Cruz to mix it up. The moderators tried to lead in that direction. There were some fireworks, some crosstalk, some everybody talking at once, kind of a food fight. But I really didn't see anything tonight that will change anything dramatically. Trump remains the front runner.
To that end, Roger, before we get back to Dick Morris, who's also with us, Trump at one point said that he thinks it's deplorable what CNN is doing. He said they did it in previous debates and they're doing it tonight, especially to Jeb Bush, where almost every question was, Donald Trump said this, what do you think what Donald Trump said about you, or what do you think what Donald Trump said that? So he did reference that. Were you surprised he brought that up? Was it getting under his skin? Is that an indication that it was getting under his skin?
Well, I think the thing he disliked the most was that the whole the undercard debate was a Donald Trump bash fest. And you had pathetic losers like George Pataki, perhaps the most corrupt governor in New York history, attacking Trump violently. It was just a pile-on. And of course, he was watching the undercard, so I think it kind of fed his ire. But you notice that CNN did not use this same tactic when they were moderating the debate between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. No place there did they say, hey, Hillary, Bernie says you're a jerk. What do you have to say about that? So this kind of treatment is only reserved for Republicans by the Clinton News Network, the CNN.
Yeah, Dick, what's your take on what we're talking about here and the tone of the moderator, the questions from the moderators towards, trying to induce conflict between, especially, as Roger Stone pointed out, Bush and Trump?
Well, I think Roger's right. I think that sometimes you look at them and you say, hey, who's running for president, Hewitt or the candidates? And I think that there was much too much moderator in this debate and not enough candidate. I feel that in the future debates, Reince Priebus should take a leadership position and say that no network will sponsor it, there will be no ads during it, and there will be no newsmen. We will simply give everybody a minute to talk, and after everybody's talked, we'll go back and give everyone another minute to talk, and another, Lincoln Douglas style. And in terms of getting TV coverage, C-SPAN will cover it, and everybody in the country will watch C-SPAN because they're not watching the network, they're watching the debate. And I don't know why Priebus and the establishment in the party insist on bringing these liberal Democratic news networks in to moderate a Republican debate.
Yeah, Roger, you could speak to that as an advisor and a consultant as well. Why do they do that?
It's an excellent question because they certainly don't need the networks. Here, Steve, I think is the fundamental question of tonight's debate. It's necktie, Salvation Army or Goodwill?
All right, let me ask you, Dick. Roger had alluded to the fact that nobody really challenged Trump on his Muslim policy, but Bush said that he was a chaos candidate based on that statement with banning Muslims and some other statements, and that he'd be a chaos president, which led to Trump saying that he's a failure and nobody cares about you, etc. So CNN, in a sense, succeeded. But let me ask you about, we've talked about Rubio versus Cruz. What about Trump versus Bush. Do you feel that Bush gained any points whatsoever in any of those exchanges?
Not a point. I think Trump won them all massively. But again, this is December, and we have to context our critique of the debate in light of what's happening in the race. Trump has stayed on top. Everybody else has stayed in single digits, including Bush. And the only movement has been Carson down, Rubio down, and Cruz up. And I think all three of those will continue and accelerate after the debate. And I think at the end of this process, the only two who are going to be left standing are the Bobbsey twins, Trump and Cruz. And it'll be fascinating to see how that plays out, because while they agree on almost everything, they are very, very different people with very different backgrounds and temperaments and all of that. And it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. But I do feel that the main thing that happened tonight was Rubio lost. And with the position he staked out on amnesty, the position that he staked out on Syrian refugees, he now does not have a hope in hell of winning a Republican primary.
Roger, two things. Trump, towards the end, first he said that maybe, I don't know which came first, but he kind of went over and shook and put his arm on Cruz's shoulder, said, he's a nice guy, I've come to know him, I like him. You know, after he said he wasn't qualified to be president, they asked him about that. He said, no, I like him. In the past 3 or 4 days, I've gotten to know him. Could those two work together on a ticket, do you think? And number two, were you surprised that Trump committed to running only as a Republican and basically eliminated the independent option tonight?
Well, let's take them one by one. First of all, I think Trump and Cruz both understand the same thing, and that is to take on the establishment candidate, whether it's Rubio or Christie. I think Jeb is essentially done. Trump needs the Cruz voters, and Cruz needs the Trump voters. When you look at the polling, you'll find that the second choice of most Trump voters is Cruz, and the second choice of most Cruz voters is Trump. So you have a very delicate dance here because they need each other in the sense that they both see themselves as the nominee. Secondarily,
all right. What about the second? Were you surprised? Yeah.
No. Look, he's already taken the pledge. I don't know why anyone asks the front runner, who's up by 10, 15 points, why he's considering running as a third-party candidate. It really makes no sense. Trump has said from the beginning,
Roger,
he would only run independent.
Thank you, my friend.
The party can treat him fairly, and they have treated him fairly.
Gotta go. Roger Stone, Dick Morris, thank you both very, very much.